welcome to Thursday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic and the return to the channel of, well, probably the most well-known Sudoku constructor in the history of Sudoku. None other than that's comedy. It's Aad van de Wetering from the Netherlands. But whoever's put this in the software has put an H, a stray H at the start, so it looks like hard van de Wetering. I don't know if that's a comment about how difficult this puzzle is. But no, it is Aad van de Wetering, and we have to start the video by wishing Aad a very, very happy birthday, because Aad is 79 today. And Aad features in the biggest video in the channel's history, a Sudoku with only 4 given digits, which has had millions and millions and millions of views. So yeah, just an astonishingly brilliant man, and it's always a pleasure to try one of his Sudokus. This has one of the shortest rule sets that we've seen in recent months, and literally the rules are normal Sudoku rules, and then the sum of 2 neighbouring digits on a grey line is always either 7 or 9. So completely thematic with Mr. 79 today. Isn't that fantastic? I've got no idea, by the way, about difficulty. We didn't have this tested. There are some people, Aad is one of them, where we don't have it tested. We just have it put in the software for us, and that's yeah, we'll have to see. Aad doesn't publish on Logic Masters Germany, so I have no way of telling whether this is hard or just Aad. We will see in a moment or two's time when I have a go at the puzzle. But let me tell you about a few things that are going on in and around the channel. Yesterday, I did battle with this puzzle. This puzzle. I hope that fits on the screen. It might not, because it's a ludicrously big grid. You can see it's a Fog-Of-War. It's called Fillomenon by Darth Paradox. I did this at many of your requests, and I will reveal the length of the video. 172 minutes. So a shade under 3 hours, but not by much. Longer than J. Dyer's Crux. It is a magnificent puzzle. It is very hard. It's fascinating, actually. It's fascinating. There's a point during the video where I look at the clock and an hour has passed, and to me that just passed in a flash, because I got so involved in the puzzle. It's a wonderful thing, and this will cater for. There is a small part of our audience who love very, very long Sudoku solves of very, very hard puzzles. So that will go on Patreon shortly, and then probably on the channel thereafter if people want to see it. But certainly, so many of you seem to enjoy the J. Dyer one. This is harder. It's similar. It's similar. It's relentlessly difficult and fascinating. Anyway, Darth Paradox, well done for setting that monstrosity. Now, the big news, though, is that yesterday our Kickstarter launched. We set ourselves the task of creating the perfect Christmas present for a Sudoku lover. And so this is Fog-Of-War, basically a novel written by Peter C Hayward, augmented with the Fog-Of-War Sudoku puzzles of Sandra Nala, augmented by Haleigh Mooney's absolutely brilliant art. And we launched it at 8:30 yesterday evening, UK time, and already I think nearly 1,000 of you have backed it, and it's blown through its target already. It's well on its way to the first. I think it might already have passed actually the first stretch goal, which will be for additional Fog-Of-War puzzles. So it's fantastic. So thank you very much to all those of you who've supported it. I think it's going to be absolutely incredible. And if you want to get on board, then I'll try and remember to put a link on the screen. I know one of the stretch goals that Peter was talking about was that there would be an audio book of the novella. That will test my reading skills. I've already been doing the poetry for the book. So anyway, I don't know at what point that kicks in, but it might happen at some point. We'll see. Other news, Demono's Sudoku Hunt over on Patreon. That is, you've still got 4 days if you want to enter November's competition. So get cracking with that. That's plenty of time to solve it. And then I've got one birthday and one thank you to do today. So a very happy birthday to Nora, who's turned 20 today. And I know this because your partner Michael wrote to us, Nora, and said that you basically watch all the videos and they're a big part of your life. So thank you. And I hope that today is a day filled with chocolate cake with the correct ratio of icing to cake, 1:1, of course. And I also want to thank Harry. Harry, for your kind email, and I wish you all the best, and thank you for taking the time to write to us. It means a lot. Now, let's have a look at 7 or 9 by Aad van der Wetering. I've read the rules already. I mean, they're very short. Normal Sudoku rules apply, so we've got to put the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, column, and 3 by 3 box. And the sum of 2 neighbouring digits on a grey line is always either 7 or 9. So if that square was a 6, then that square could be 1 or 3, and that square could be 1 or 3. That must be how that works. I think it's that, isn't it? That's all we can say. Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. Now I get to play. Let's get cracking. Now, okay, my first thought here. Well, no, actually, let me just think. I might be able to do Sudoku. I know that's a very, very rare place for me to start, but these black things here are actually called given digits, and they're so rare that perhaps I should make use of them. I don't think actually that... Yeah, that is the classic value of given digits in Cracking the Cryptic videos nowadays, which is basically... they are useless. Now, the other thought I had about this was 9s. Surely 9s are very... well, they must be impossible to put on the lines. Because if I put a 9 on the line, in order for those 2 digits to add up to 7 or 9, we have to allow ourselves the luxury of 0 or -2 into the adjacent cell. And they are not valid Sudoku digits. So 9 in box 5 has to be off the line in box 4. Yeah, that's good actually. Look, so now we can ask where 9 goes. Oh, in fact, we could have asked this straight away. Where does 9 go in row 6? If it can't go on a line, it's got to go there. Oh, 9 in box 8. It's got to go there. So that is 9. Okay. Oh, right. This is good, actually. This is good. We're actually getting a start. Aad has been kind to us. Where is 9 in box 1? I think it's in the corner. Okay. I will... no. I thought I messed it up, but no, there is a spot for 9 there. So we are going to get all of the 9s straight away. That is all of them. And they're very regularly laid out as well. That's suspicious. Alright, so what's the next highest digit? 8. So 8 can only go on a line with a 1. That's the only place we can put 8 on a line. Now, are there any box... yes, box 1 has to have an 8 on the line. So there has to be a 1 next to the 8. Okay, I mean, this is a lame deduction, but I'll mention it. So that means this can't be an 8. Because 8 is a bit like a German Whispers 5 in the sense that it can't appear on a line. Well, no, it's more like a German Whispers 4 or 6 in the sense that it's monogamous. 8 can only partner 1, so if I was to put it in the middle of the line, I'd have to put 1 on both sides of it. And 8 doesn't want 2 partners of 1s. Well, it might want it, but it doesn't get it in Sudoku. So that's so that's all but useless, I think. Let's just see if there are any other boxes where we can make yeah, what about this box? 8 in this box. Well, again, okay, so you can't put 8 in the middle of the box, so maybe this is the point. No, it's just not. There's quite a lot of boxes where there are gaps. There's nothing on the line. Well, there are spaces where we could, for example, put the 8 here. Oh, I've got sneeze coming. Don't go away, sneeze. Naughty sneeze. Okay, that doesn't seem to have worked, does it? What are we meant to do? We got off to a good start. 7 has to go with 2s, doesn't it now? Because 7 can't go with 0. Right, so 7 and 8. So 7 and 8 are the new 4 and 6 in a way. So if this was German Whispers, 4 and 6 would be monogamous. In this puzzle, 7 and 8 are monogamous. Oh well, 7 and 8 are monogamous if they're on a line. So what does that mean? So 7 is on a line. Ah, okay, so 7 is on a line in box 2. So one of these squares is a 2, and possibly if that was 7, both of those squares would be a 2. Okay, that doesn't seem to be... Sorry, I'm not quite understanding this at the moment. I guess 6, 5, 4s, 3s. 6s can be 3s and 6, or 1 and 6 to make 7 or 9. 5s can be 2, 5, or 4, 5. I struggle to believe that it's lower digit. I think it's 7s and 8s somehow that I've got to figure out something about. It's incredibly regular grid, isn't it, actually? That's the other thought. The other question, actually, that's just popped in my head is this couldn't be some sort of set trick. I know Aad has used set before. I mean, the only set trick that diagonal lines makes me think about is checkerboarding. I'm just going to have a quick look at that, if you don't mind. It might be total and utter nonsense, but I'm going to have a quick look. So those squares versus these squares. Maybe I should use blue and orange, actually. Let's use blue and orange. They're the most colourblind friendly colours. Now, so what I've done there is I've highlighted 5 columns of the Sudoku in blue and 5 rows of the Sudoku in orange. And so we can say at this point that the blue set of digits is identical to the orange set of digits because it's 5 sets of the digits 1 to 9. There must be the digits 1 to 9 in every complete column of the Sudoku. There must be the digits 1 to 9 in every complete row of the Sudoku. So I can take out digits that are both colours. Look, all of these squares are both colours. I've not got a good feeling about this, actually. And what that tells me, because I've removed the same tile, if you like, from both sets. So this cell, before I removed it, was in both sets. So when I remove it from both sets, I don't change the conclusion that what's remaining in the sets must be the same, because the sets were the same and I took the same thing out of both sets. So the orange digits here are the same digits as the blue digits. What does that mean? Not a lot. There's a lot of, well, oh, I've got sneezes coming again. No. Okay, one thing that means, which is is not what I wanted to think about, or I'm not sure that's doing anything, but I've just thought of something else as a result of that colour of shading, which is that it is true to say that the parity of these lines oscillates, doesn't it? So forget all that about sets. The parity of the lines oscillate. Now, does that tell us something? Yes, it does. Right. Okay, so maybe this is nothing to do with set. Maybe this is parity. Okay, so one thing about 7 and 9, here is a knowledge bomb for you from Cracking the Cryptic, is that they are odd digits. Now, let's look at box 1 again. Because if we're summing two numbers to give an odd number, one of those digits is odd, one of those digits is even. So any two adjacent cells on the line contain one odd and one even. But look, so those two contain an odd. Those two contain an odd. So if this was even, then in this box we'd have two odds at these ends, two odds the 9 and the 7, and two more odds in those four cells, and that would be 6 odd digits. In a Sudoku box. Now there are only 5 odd numbers, 1, 3, 5, 7 and 9 in Sudoku. So this square is even. Sorry, it is odd. I've just got I made the conclusion and then put the wrong thing in. That's got to be odd. So these two are both even. And these are... we don't know, basically. I don't see how we're going to know that. So that digit is 1, 3 or 5 by Sudoku. And these two digits are... oh no, that's horrible. That's not helpful at all. I was thinking that might limit the 8 to some extent. I don't think it does. That could be 8, 1 with 6, or 8, 1 with 6. Or there could be no 8 in these squares, and the 8, 1 could be somewhere else. Right. So how else can we... maybe... no. I think it's something to do with parity now. I think what we've got to do is to find somewhere in this puzzle. I thought it was going to be here, but it might be here. So one of those is odd. So if that was even, there would be all the odds in those squares. All 3 of those would be even. Oh, you see, that would be... If you could make a deduction like that, look how that would spin through the puzzle, if all those were even, because then all of these lines, well, not all of them, but several of them, you could immediately parity shade, because we know they're going to oscillate. Right. So we need some way of... I haven't got this yet. I'm sorry. I think it's to do with parity. But I'm not exactly sure how to do it. It's going to be something like... See, these cells can only have... alright, let's try this column then. Oh, no, actually that might not be... Oh, this is complicated. Hang on. How does this work? So what I'm doing is I'm knocking out that square, because that disappears off into the ether on the left. Let's look at these squares. So we know, don't we, exactly the split of the parity in purple. That's three. There must be 3 odd digits and 3 even digits in those purple squares, because the rest of the column is 2 odds and an even. And we know that there are 4 evens and 5 odds in Sudoku. So purple is 3 odds and 3 evens. Now, interestingly, that means those squares. Yeah, well, it gives you something. That means these squares here are the opposite of purple, if you like. But because we've got an equivalent number of odds and evens in purple, 3 evens, 3 odds, these cells are also 3 evens and 3 odds. And therefore, in this column, the purple squares will complete the complement of the orange digits. There will be 5 odd digits in there. And that means that little square is even, which means that line is now suddenly parity shadable. Right, let me see what that's done to the world. So, no, naughty little puzzle. So now we've nearly got something going on. How do we do this then? So now I've got 3. I've got 3 odds here. Yeah, okay. All right, so now we can come back to this column again. I think there might be a better way of doing this, but I'm making slow progress here, because now I can't. The parity of these digits here in this column, well, specifically actually those. Let's look at these specific digits, because these are all on lines that end up in this column. So the parity of these digits is actually identical to the parity of those digits, because these will oscillate parity. So if that's odd, that will be even, and that will be odd again. Now, that means that these green digits can't have more than 2 odds in them, because if they had more than 2 odds, this column would have more than 5 odds. So that means in this column, there are 2 odds in green, 3, 4, and that must be the 5th odd digit. And that is going to allow us to parity colour these cells, or that line, I should say. Okay, and now we know that digit, don't we? I think. Because now we have an exact count on the greens. The exact count of the greens is 3 evens and 2 odds to complete this column. So it's 3 evens and 2 odds here, and we must have a last even in the column. This is interesting. Look, we're getting towards a position where we might have 4 evens in row 1. Okay. Not sure now. Yeah, we can't quite extend it because we don't know the exact, we don't know what these are, for example. So whatever these are, they mimic parity. So if we remove these from green, the parity of these mimics here. Ugh, no. But we don't know what the parity of those are. At least I don't think we do. So this trick only works where you can exactly count the parity of some sort of set of cells. Well, okay, I'm going to try those then. I'm going to switch to rows then. So those cells are, well, they are 3 odds and 2 evens, aren't they? And these green cells do end... Oh, no. No, it's okay. No, they do. They go there. So that's 3 oranges, 2 blues. It's not good. It's a shame, isn't it? So what that's telling us is these two are opposite parity, and that's something that I don't believe we can ever use, or I don't think we can. Bother. It's something. I think this is how you have to do this. It's some sort of play on this sort of thing, isn't it? It's tricky though. Actually, it is tricky. This. What could it be now? Where's the balance point where we can tip these sets into one another? One of these is odd, one of these is even. So these are opposite parity. I don't know. Sorry, I'm not spotting it. I think... Ooh, where is the breaking point here? In this box, maybe. We've got one of each there, one of each there. So that's 4 odds altogether, isn't it? So there's only one more odd in those 3 squares. So if it looks like that wants to be odd by sort of this line that's going up there, that would make both of those even. I mean, maybe we can look at those squares and say there can only be a maximum of 1 even in there. So there can be a maximum of 1 even in there, a maximum of 1 even in there. That's not good enough, is it? It's close. It is close. It's interesting. I mean, if that was even, that would be even. And that would be all the evens for that box. So all of those... hang on. What? That's nonsense. Oh, that's it. Right. Okay. Sorry. Yes. Something's wrong with that. Okay, the way to do this is these 2 squares, isn't it? So those 2 squares have to include an even digit. And therefore, if this was odd, those 2 would both be even, and there would be 5 evens in the box. So this is even, and these are odd, and that's odd, and these are even. Bingo. Now these 2 squares have to include an even. So that's all the evens in the box, so that's odd, and that's going to colour this other line. Oh, this is gorgeous. It's very clever. It's classic art. So these are all filled in. And now, what does that mean? Okay. Oh, that was genuinely, I mean, I know I find strange things exciting, but that was exciting. How long have I had? Half an hour? How can I have had half an hour? I don't know. I just get... Okay. So can we... These squares... I'm just going to look at this again. So again, these are all transposable into those squares, aren't they? So, and we know the exact count of green in row 3. We've got 1 orange and 2 evens, so 2 blues. So this is 1 orange and 2... no, this is the same. We haven't improved our stock in life there. That's the same deduction I made before, but whatever we've done in the meantime hasn't improved what we know. Okay. One of those has to be odd, so that's 4 odds in box 6. Ooh, is there something going on in row 6? Maybe. What is the count of parities on those squares? That's got to be 4 evens and 3 odds. I think every cell there is on a line. But we don't. We do know. Do we know that one? Oh, yeah. Hang on. This might be interesting. Let's click that. I do know that one, and that scoots off up the grid. So maybe I leave that one out because everything else scoots off down the grid. Right. So the count of these green cells is exactly 3 odds and it's 3 and 3. 3 and 3. So they go into those squares. Actually, we could leave that one out because we know how that one's working, don't we? We've somehow done that one. So if we leave that one out and we know that one as well, so maybe we leave them out if we know them. Okay, that's probably is more sensible. I'm fiddling around here trying to work out how to do this. All right, so the remaining greens are 2 of each, and every line does transpose down. So those are 2 of each. No, so these are opposite parity. That's all we get from that. So. Bother. Sorry, that's useless as well. Well, is it useless? I think it is useless. Okay, so I've got to... Oh, I can't use these pencil marks somehow. I presume I can't. Seems unlikely, doesn't it? I think that's probably wishful thinking. What about... I don't know what that is, so I haven't got an exact count on these. I know these would include a maximum of 2 of each. So these include a maximum of 2 of each. That's not important. See, if that was odd, those would both be even. And that might be possible if those are both odd. If these are both odd, yeah, everything propagates. It's very interesting how this works. I think it feels right, doesn't it? It feels like this is the idea of the puzzle. It's just hard to focus, for me at least, on the right spot where you can find a definitive deduction. So we know this is 1 of each. It could almost be worth the second order shading. You pick 2 more colours and you say, well, whatever that is, that's the opposite of it. And then I'm not sure actually. Wow. Oh, that digit. There we go. There's a simple deduction. That's got to include an even digit. This line, so that's odd. Oh, is that going to do anything? Please. Don't know. That being odd, that feels like it's doing something in this row, doesn't it? Seven is monogamous. So 7 is in one of those 2 cells in box number 4. It can't go in the middle of the line. It would have 2 on both sides of it. So 7, 7. Close. Is there a reason this can't be a 7? If that's a 7, you go double 2 there. There's a 2 in one of those. Don't know. Not sure. I'm going to come back to this row, actually. Oh, I don't know what that is, though. That's annoying. So, I mean, the maximum number of odd digits in those cells is 1. They might all be even. They're not all even. No. Okay, this could be cool. This could be something. So, if these 3 cells were all even, which they could be, only one of them can be odd. But if they were all even, these would all be odd, and there would be 6 odds in row 4. So one of these is odd, which means that cell is even. Oh, I think we worked that out before, didn't we? Didn't we work out those were opposites, and I just overlooked it? I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you're cross with me about that. Okay, well now we've got the exact count of these, so maybe this is where we come back to. We know this is 1 odd and 2 evens. So this is 2 evens. Sorry, it's 1 even and 2 odds. It'd be very easy to make a mistake here. Now that's good, I think. Let's just double check that's right. This is definitely 1 odd. So this has to have 2 odds. And that completes the odds, so that's even. Okay, and is that helpful? That's the next question. The answer seems to be, oh, that's horrible. That's not done anything. What? Yeah, one of these is even, and that's the 3rd even in box 5, and then one of those is even. So the really useful thing here, one of these is even. Oh, so one of those. Yeah, there's a lot of balance, if you like. We're reaching a position here where there's a lot of balance in the force. The midichlorians are not helping us, though. Come on, midichlorians. What am I meant to do now? I don't really know. Is this strategy helping us or not? I think it sort of is. Those ones, let's come back to those. Let's give them a different colour in case that changes our luck. In fact, that's a good idea. We'll make those yellow. Okay, so the yellow digits we know are 2 odds and an even. So we know that these squares are 2 evens. That's great. Yeah, it is useful, isn't it? It's really weird how this. There's definitely some sort of holistic way of doing this, I think. But this way is my way. This is Simon's way. I'm just going to check it because it felt a bit magical. So the yellow squares are definitely only 1 even in them. So there must be 2 evens in those squares. And that completes the evens for the column. So that square becomes odd, and that's massive. Well, I don't know if it's massive, but that being odd means I can colour this line. Yeah. Now, is that good or not? Maybe that's not. Well, yes, it is great. It's great in this box. I've got 3 evens. There must be an even in those 2 squares, so that's got to be odd. And that's coloured this line. Yes. Okay, great. So those are odd. These are even. And I think in a moment we're going to find, hopefully, a row, column or box with 4 evens in it. That's what we're looking for. Oh, that's typical. I shouldn't have said anything there. I haven't. Oh, no. Come on. Oh dear. Oh dear. Maybe this is not how you're meant to do this. It feels very interesting, but it's not actually. Yeah, see, I'm tempted now by this idea, because this cell, whatever this cell is, let's say it's whatever its parity is. it is a different parity to that cell, isn't it? Very clearly, because there's one more of each parity left in this box. So these are different parity. But then we can parity shade the whole of this line. Those must be purple. In other words, these must be green. Now let's see what this does. So these, that's green, so those are green, and these must all be purple now. And where does that take the count of various things in the world? Yeah, so the central cross of the grid all gets completed from a parity perspective there. Obviously, without us knowing what purple and green's parity are, you get an extra purple and green in row 7, which takes the... So these are opposite parity, but we don't know, do we, whether they... Can we give them a... We could have a third level of parity here. So whatever that parity is... So if that was yellow parity... This could be, I don't know, red parity. And then that would be red parity by the line. And that would be yellow parity. And this would be one of each. And yeah, this is getting confusing now. What? Oh, nearly. See, that must be one of each parity, just to complete to balance the box. That's one of each parity to balance that box. Oh, yeah, we're going to get stuck. We're going to get stuck here. Well, okay, that's interesting then. Because that suggests, and I might well be wrong, but it suggests to me that we need to do something different at this point, because I can't see how to break these. The parity balances everywhere, and I can't see where we can disambiguate it. So, if that's right, what do we do? We've got to think about, I think we've got to think about 7s and 8s again. That would be my suggestion, simply because actually, let's just think about it there. If that's 7, oh dear, that's a worry actually. That is a worry. So what I'm noticing there is that if that's 7, I might not have needed any of the parity stuff I've been doing to show that this doesn't work. That square there, we now know that's a 2. Or am I wrong? I'm not wrong. I'm definitely not wrong. Yeah, okay, so where is 7 in this box now? Well, 7 can't go on the line, because we know 7 is monogamous on the line. It only accompanies 2, and I can't put a 2 here. So I think 7 goes in the corner. But now, let me ask you an odd question. Where do you put 7 in this column? Now, unless I'm missing something, I have to put 7 on a line. And if I have to put 7 on a line, the cell that's to the left of the 7 on the line will be a 2, and it will sit under that 2 wherever you put it. You can't put 7 there, so you can't get away from that deduction. Ah, bobbins. Okay, so maybe this is not... Maybe there was another way to attack this, actually, which was to think about that sort of thing. Right, that's not 7, so this is 7. So this is 2, which is unfortunately not in it. I'd much rather that it had been here, because that would have told us the nature of green. And the nature of green is something that's always fascinated me. Right, so where is 7 in this box now? And the answer is in one of those 2 squares. Now that could be a 7, could it? That would be a 2. That would be a 2. One of these would be a 2. Bobbins. Let me think about this. Yeah, I think there is some sort of restriction in these columns on 7s and 2s, because there's so much lineage and so few actual 7s. So, for example, well, where is 7 in this box? I don't know the answer to that, but I know some cells where it's not. So, for example, it is not here, because it would have to have double 2 being monogamous. So it's not there, it's not here. So in theory it's one of those, but I think I've just proved in my brain it's not there. And it's not, is it? Because what you can see, in fact, it's not there either, for basically the same reason, which is that if you put a 7 in one of these, you have to put a 2 in one of those. But now, where is the 7 in this column? If either of these is a 7, this logic applies. Because there's a 7 up here, so there's a 7 in one of those, always on a line, and they're always going to have 2 on their right-hand side, and that's going to always clash. So that doesn't work. So neither of those is a 7. 7 is not an even number, last time I checked, so 7's in one of these. So 7, now if we put 7 here, let's just have a think about that. If we put 7 there, we're going to have double. That looks like it might work in the way that we'd then have double 2. Oh, that would be a 2. There'd be a 2 up there. There'd be a 7 there. Oh, wait a minute. Hang on. Let's forget that for a moment. There's a 7 in one of these two. So that's not 7. Sorry, I didn't see that. Oh, that's huge. Or is it? Yes, that's huge. Right, that's odd. 7 is an odd number. So we've got one of one of green and one of purple, which is one of each parity. That's how we defined it. This is absolutely massive. Look, that's 7. I don't know. So maybe this tells us the parity. I'm warming to the idea that maybe parity was important. I am worried though that I could have made this deduction without parity. So I could have proved this was a 7 without any parity shading. But well, I don't know whether that would have led me somewhere else. But look, in this box now, all the odds are in those cells, so that is even. I've now got 4 even digits in this column, which tells us that green is odd wherever it appears. So green turns orange, which means purple turns blue. Now this is where we count everything up and we find we've got like 5 blues in a row or something. It doesn't look that bad at the moment. This column is done with an orange here. So that's got to be even. That's all of that one done, so that's orange. That's all of that box done, so that's even. Oh, even is not a 7, is it? That's not 7. That's got to be 7. We know 7 goes with 2, so there's a 2 up in one of those squares now. Oh, this is going to be absolutely beautiful if this goes from here. Oh, come on. Okay, now we must be able to do some cleverness. Oh yeah, look at the bottom row. Red's got to be odd now, which means yellow is even. Oh, so that does the 7, of course. 7 must move there. That's in the middle of a line. That gets double 2'd. So that's a 2 in this row. That's a 2 in this row. This is so beautiful. Come on. That's a 2. That's a 2. That's 2 in the corner. I want to sing, but I shouldn't. That's 2. That's all the 2's done. Hang on, can we do all the 7s? We must be able to. 7 goes there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a 7. Right, what's going on? This column is done, so that's got to be blue. That's got to be orange. Let's just check that. The count looks great, doesn't it? It looks right. Okay, so what do we do now? We've done, hang on, digits. We've done all the 7s. We've done all the 2s. So it must be 1s and 8s, is it? I say that with trepidation. Oh no, I know what it is. No, it's what we should do is think about the 2s. Because the 2s are either next to 7s or they're next to 5s. That's got to be right. So everywhere there's a 2 that's not got a neighbour, you can put 5 into it. That would be a sensible thing to do. So that's, oh, whoopsie doopsies, that's got to be a 5. Every time there's a 2, that's got to be a 5. Oh dear. Every time there's a 2 on a line, I should probably have qualified that with. Okay. So what's that done? Have we got... Oh, look how regular this is. Oh, 5's not even, is it? So we can do that. Let's keep clicking 5s. That's 5 by Sudoku. And that's 5 by Sudoku. Oh, that's weird. They've got less... Well, they are sort of regular. They're stepping down if we view the grid as a torus. Right. Okay, well, let's now think about the 5s. The 5s, if they have a gap on one side that's not 2, it must be a 4, mustn't it? Because we're always having neighbours that add up to the right numbers. So all of these can't be 2s because we put all the 2s in the grid. So we can just fill in all the 4s. Okay, let's see. Have we... Ah, no, there's another one there. And once we've done that, we can use parity to give us more knowledge. Come on. No. I don't want to be left with an X-wing or anything like that. What's going on? Yeah, where's 4 in that? And then 4 goes there. Okay, now 4, now, what's that going to be next to? That can be next to, it's either next to 5, or if it's not next to 5, it must be next to 3. And we've put, let me just double check, we have put all the 5s in the grid, so if there are any gaps next to 4s, we can write 3s into them. So that's a 3, 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 and that's a 3. That's all the 4s done. Okay, and we got some 3s from that, so let's double click the 3s. We can write a 3 in there by Sudoku. We can write a 3 in there by Sudoku. We're going to get a 3 in the... No, we're not going to get a 3 in the corner, but I don't mind too much about that. Now what we've got to do is do maths. So 3 is either next to 4 to make 7, and if it's got a gap, it must be next to 6. So we can put 6 in there, 6 in there, 6 in there, 6 in there, 6 in there. Okay, and now that, well, that's 1, 8. We can see that, can't we? Yeah, and we can use parity to tell us what the order is. That's 8 by Sudoku. Actually, maybe now what we do is we just do odd even Sudoku, if you see what I mean. Look, I can just fill these in. I don't think this is... I'm doing anything clever. I'm just looking, I'm playing Sudoku on the blue digits, knowing they have to be even, and you can just fill them in. And then 8 must be next to 1 to be monogamous. So that's a 1. That's lovely. That's because they add up to 7. There's a 1 in the corner of the puzzle there. That's going to be a 1. That's going to be a 1. That's going to be a 1. Double click the 1s. All looks good. Have I got a digit in every cell? Perhaps. Yes. Oh, that's taken me a while. That was verging on you being hard, Van der Wetering, today, Aad. But that was beautiful. I loved that. That was very clever. It was super interesting. Super interesting. This is why Aad is such an unbelievable constructor, because that logic is totally fresh, isn't it? We've not seen anything like that for, well, ever, frankly, where these diagonal lines have sort of oscillating parity, and you can use that to parity colour the grid. Oh, what a beautiful, beautiful puzzle, Aad. And happy 79th birthday to you. Let the comments rain down with birthday congratulations, and I hope you get chocolate cake. I love that. Let me know in the comments how you got on. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.